Okay, then, so now what we have to do is we have to bring this short description. So basically the short description over here, which is going to be generate the description based on the role by searching. So we are going to use the AI Google Studio in order to generate this content. So for instance, if I'm searching for web developer, and if I click this generate option, so that is going to generate some content and directly inside this text area where you can able to alter the content, and once you click the save option you should able to save this data and everything. Okay, so this is exactly what we are going to do now. So in order to do that, okay, so let's get back over here. I am going to close everything except this one. Then I'm gonna get the let's duplicate the category form. So I'm going to copy and paste the category form, and I'm going to rename this category form copy this file, this particular file. So let's rename this category copy. I'm going to delete this and I'm going to change this to short description.tsx. all right, description. Okay, so now over here what we need to do is, so let's change all those necessary things. So instead of this category form, what we are going to do, I'm going to change those things to short description form, short description form props and everything. So initial data, of course, it is going to be job ID. So in this case I don't need this options button and everything, so let's go ahead and remove that. So we don't need that, this is not necessary, and this is also not necessary. Okay, so over here this is also not necessary, and this place, let's remove this, and let's, for the time being, I'm just going to keep it as a paragraph tag. Inside here I'm just going to say initial data dot short description, that's it. Okay, and for this I'm gonna say class name text neutral 400 or 500, something like that. Okay, and inside here we don't need this combo box because we're going to keep something else over here for the time being. And the title, of course, it is going to be, instead of this, it's going to be short description, something like that. So save these changes and let's get back to the page.tsx. Right after this cover image, let's bring this short description about that particular role over here. So I'm going to copy this category form and I'm going to paste it, and I don't need this options at all, delete it. Instead of this category form, I'm going to say short description and save these changes. Now you should be able to see that short description over here, and if you click you will not see anything. Okay, so here now let's get into the short description thing. Okay, so over here what are the things that we need to change is inside this default values, the term wherever we do have the category ID, we need to change that to short underscore description, I think so. So let me get into, yep, that's the thing, I think so. If I, yeah, that's the thing, that's the exact same name I've been using on my schema. So let's confirm it. I think, yep, that's the thing, short underscore description, and that's exactly what I typed over here, short underscore description, initial data. Okay, for perfectly fine. On submit and current state and everything is fine, and inside the place where we are displaying, that is also fine. All right, so now here when I click this edit option, when it's editing over here, at this point what we need to do is we need to generate a text box just like the same way what we do have over here, like this. So let's go ahead and start customize the UI based on that. Okay, so I'm going to cut from here, cut it out, and I'm gonna open the React fragments, and here I'm going to create a div, and this is going to be flex, item center, gap is going to be 2, margin top and bottom is going to be 2. Inside here I'm going to get create an input tag. Okay, and right after that I'm going to have so we are going to have this. Right after this I'm going to have a paragraph tag. This is going to be note, something warning information for the user, and right here I'm going to bring the form. Okay, so just like that, this is the division structure it's going to be. Okay, so I think it's not necessary, this bracket. Save the changes, and now you should be able to see that. Okay, now inside this division, what we are going to do is I'm going to bring an input tag which is going to be text, and it's going to have a placeholder, so which is basically it's going to say example full stack developer, something like this. Save the changes. All right, and then now what we need to do is, now you should be able to see that input box over there. So I'm gonna customize this a little bit. So in order to get that prompt, I'm gonna create a new state value over here. So let's say use state, let's say prompt, that is going to be, and that is going to be an empty string. Okay, so make sure that the prompt is going to be as an empty string. Okay, so then to get that load, whether that the AI will take some time to write. So let's say use state is prompting. That means the AI is trying to loading that, figure it out the keyword and try to generate the content. So it's going to use some time. So I need a state to monitor that loading state. Right. So over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to supply that to the input tag over here, which is going to have the value. By default, it is going to have the value as prompt. Then on change, I'm going to get that in event, and then I'm going to set that to the prompt event dot target dot value. Okay, then right after here, we have the type, we have the placeholder, we have the value on change, and let's start writing the customizations, the style customizations. And over here for this class name, which is going to looks like width, of course it's going to take the complete width, and the padding, of course it should be 2, and rounded, of course it's going to be medium. That's how it looks. Then right after this input, whether it is prompting, if it is prompting, I need to load a different set of button. If it is not, I need to load a different set of button. Okay, so over here what I'm going to do is I'm going to generate a button, and inside this button I'm going to have the loader 2 icon from the lucid, and it's going to have the class name as width, of course it is going to be 4, height, of course it's going to be 4, and animate spin, it need to spin. So save these changes. This is the button it's going to be. If it is not, over here what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring a button which is going to have a light bulb inside in it, light bulb. Okay, and that is going to have the exact same style, but we don't need that animate spin. Okay, and whenever I'm clicking this on click, I need to call a function, so handle prompt generation, something like that. This is the function that we are planning to create. So we need to create that function right after over here. Const is equals to, it's a callback function. Let's open it, and that is going to be an asynchronous function. Okay, for the time being, let's save this changes, and that's how the buttons and everything is going to looks like. Okay, so now if I start typing something and if I click this, it is going to change that loading state, and we need to generate the content right after over here. And then so right after this, I'm going to have a paragraph tag which is going to give the message the user to. So note, which going to be, okay, so profession or professional name, let's say profession name alone enough to generate the tags, so something like that. And I'm gonna add some styles for this, which is going to be a very small. So for this paragraph tag, you can add this style, class name, text small, muted 400, and text right. So everything will be something like this. See, this is how it looks. And right inside the form, what I'm going to do is I need to bring the text area inside this section. So in order to get that, what you need to do is, so let me open the Shadcn and search for text area. Okay, so Let's go ahead and install this, copy it from here, open up the terminal and paste it, let it install. So we are going to use this text area. So now it's successfully installed. So just like the exact same way, I'm going to use the text area from where at components UI text area. Inside here, we need to say disable when it's need to be disabled whenever the form is being submitting, and placeholder. So over here, short description about the job, that is going to be the placeholder, and we need to destructure the complete field property. So field, save these changes. And now if you check it out over here, you should be able to see the text area over here. Okay, so now all we have to do is to integrate the Google AI Studio. Okay, so let's open up the AI, search for Google AI Studio, something like that. You should be able to open the AI Studio, the Google Generative AI Studio. So if I click this, it's going to show you the page where that link it is. Okay, so if you're using it for very first time, it will ask you to sign in with the Google AI Studio and all those things. In this case, I already logged in, so yeah, use this link aistudio.google.com. So that will takes you to the Google AI Studio itself. All right, so here we go. This is how the AI Studio will looks like. Okay, so if you click over here, the get code option, and if you choose the JavaScript, and that is going to give you the complete code how to set up all these projects and everything inside your project and everything. So this is the package that we need to download and install. Okay, and then you can simply copy this code and you can paste it. You can directly use it inside your project. So, okay, so in this case, I'm gonna copy this and let me install this first. Paste it, npm install at Google AI Generative. Okay, so inside here in the scripts sections, inside the scripts folder, I'm gonna say AI studio.ts file, and let me copy this and let me paste it over here. This is how it's going to be. We need to make some customizations over here, so I'm gonna provide you the code. You can copy that code completely from the description and you can paste it over here. So over here, all right then, so next what we need to do is we need to generate the API key. You can see we have that key over here, Gemini API key. So let me shut it down my application over here, stop the server. And if you click this get API key, so that is going to give you the API key. So over here, I already generated the API key. So you can use by click this create API key, and that is going to help you to create a new API key over here. Okay, so you can choose what kind of project that you are going to use. So these are the project which I already created on my cloud. Okay, so for the first time, if you are using it, it will also allow you to create the project. Okay, so these are the Firebase projects. Okay, so for it you need to create a project, then you can choose the project where you can set up all those buildings and everything. Currently we are using the free of charges only. Okay, so don't worry, we are using the free plan only. You will not be charged, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so now I do have this the API key, so I already copied my API key. So please go ahead and please read this completely and generate it. This is completely free only, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so now I do have my API key. So what I need to do is I need to keep that API key in the env folder. Once you got that API key, you need to paste it over here. So let me paste that, and I can use the name exactly the same name as this Gemini API key. So save this changes and I can use it over here. Okay, so okay, so next what we need to do is Okay, so since we added our API key and everything properly, so you don't have to change anything over here. We have the generation configuration, which is completely provided by your this Google AI Studio itself. And then this is the place where it's going to start the chat, and in this case we need to customize our safety settings. Okay, so you need to add these safety settings. So if you want to learn more about the safety settings, you need to click this link. So that is going to take you to that link where you can able to adjust the safety settings and all those things, how to use the safety settings. You can learn this how they are using. See the category, this is the safety settings that we need to use, so you can understand how they are using it over here. If you change these to Node.js, you can see this is how you need to use the safety settings. So here I'm gonna right after here create an array for safety settings, so you can copy this completely. So don't worry, I already dropped this complete code in the gist file. You can click and copy and paste it. Okay, just update your API key, that's enough. And now we need to enable this safety settings. So all I have to do is to remove this and let me add the safety settings. So make sure that both of the terms are both are same, and add the comma at the end, and I don't need this at all. Okay, so now I have the chat session in my hand. Okay, so then this is the place where I'm going to get the message. So this is the place where I need to send the prompt. So instead of run function, I'm going to make this as generate sorry, get generative AI response, something like that. That's a function, and this function is going to take a prompt, which is going to be the string, and that prompt needs to be passed over here, prompt. Okay, and we don't need to call this function over here. We need to export this function. So export default, so we can use this function somewhere else. Get generative AI response. So this is this result for the let's console log it how the result is going to get, then we can do the later stuffs and everything. Okay, so now we have that, and let's get back over here, and inside this handle prompt generation, so enter, this is the place where we need to send that prompt and everything, right? So over here what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this function as an async. It's already asynchronization. Okay, so let's get the exception handling. If there is any error is happening, so I'm just going to do the console log, console.log, what is that, let's say error, and we need to say toast.error, let's say something went wrong. Okay, so after this, inside this get option, I'm going to say set is prompting as true, because we need to make this as a loading option. Then we need to set the custom prompt. So you can write yourself a custom prompt. In this case, I'm going to use myself the prompt which I'm already using. So let me enable the word wrap so you can see. So I'm writing myself, could you craft a concise job description for the prompt for the UI developer, or whatever the term I'm searching in the input tag, that will be updated in this state. And for that position, we are asking the AI to generate less than 400 character job descriptions. Okay, that's the prompt we are using. This is the custom prompt. You can customize it. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this await generative get generative AI response, that function which is being imported from where, from the yeah, AI Studio. So let's remove the unwanted packages. All right, these are the things. Now it's everything is being removed, and inside this now I need to send the custom prompt, which we do have, send the custom prompt. So now this prompt will be passed over here, and that is going to return a promise, and that promise, it's going to get you the data, because we are not returning any data. So for the time being, I'm just going to call an empty function, and here I'm just going to say set is prompting as false, because we need to change the loading state. Okay, so let's make sure everything is working perfectly fine or not. So let's run our application, npm run dev, open it, get back to the application, refresh it, open the console. So far there is no issues over here. Also we don't have any issues, everything is perfectly fine. Close it. keep your console clean. And here now what I'm going to do, I'm going to type search for UI developer or something. Now if I click this, you can see the loading state. All right, so we are getting the error. Okay, API key it's not valid. So for some reason it is not loading this. Let's add the double quotes. Let's check it out one more time. Close it and let's rerun it. So refresh it. Even after that, if we are still getting the same issue, let's try loading the API key directly, then we will check it out. Close it, description, and search for UI developer or something. Click generate. Okay, so still we are getting the API key as an invalid. The reason is because let's try to load this over here directly. So this API key, instead of this, what we can do is we can directly supply the API key for the time being. Save it, and now let's check it out one more time. If we are still getting that, we need to figure it out why it is happening. UI developer and click generate. Okay, look at that. Now we are getting that UI text. Okay, so we are getting that text which is exactly we wanted. So UI developer sorted out. Now if I search for web developer or something, we are getting that message web developer. Look at that, we are getting that message instantly. Okay, so now what I need to do is I need to return this data need to be returned back. Okay, so I'm going to return this. So instead of console.log.result, what I'm going to do is I'm going to return that response. So I'm going to, okay, so let's return over here response, sorry, result.response. Okay, so it is not showing, so let's type it by ourselves. Return.response.text function. This is the data that need to be returned. Okay, so I'm gonna, let's keep the console log, because at some point if we are getting any unwanted text or anything, so we need to clean the data, right? So by the time, every time when it's generating, let's try to display it so we can see what exactly the content is being generating. Before deploying it on the live server, we can remove this. And due to some reasons, it's not loading the environment variable directly, so that's the reason we are using it. By the time when you're pushing to the production, we can change it. Okay, so then what we need to do is, now we have the AI generated content over here, so we have to get the data over here. We know that we are returning the data, so I can get the data straightly over there. Then what I can do is I can set that data directly before, before over here. Okay, so what I can do is I can update that data to the form. For that I can use the form data. So form dot set value. So for what field that we are trying to set, we are trying to set the value for short description. So the form description should have the clear the data, whatever the data that we are getting, we need to set that data to the form field. So save it, and now if I search for it, that data needs to be updated over here. See, now we are getting some unwanted characters and all these things, so we need to clean this record. So in order to clean this, what we can do is, let's get back to the AI. Okay, so by the time where we are returning it, okay, so I'm gonna trim. So if there is any triple quotes or anything, let's try now, because basically what we are trying to do is we are trying to figure it out if there is any unwanted extra quotes or anything. We are trying to clean it by the time of the starting itself. So now if I generate it, look at that. Now we are having the very clean data. Okay, because if you are trying to get it directly, so it is going to give you the 3 extra marks, the 3 extra coatings over here. So that's the thing. So now even if I refresh it, and if I get back over here, and if I use a full stack developer or something, now if I search for it, look at that. Now we have the full stack developer descriptions completely, which we are expected. Okay, so perfect. And now what we need to do, if I click save, it needs to save it. Okay, so let's make sure the function, okay, there is no changes. Let me try it now. Click update, save this function. Okay, so now the data is being saved, and you can see we have ourselves the short description. Okay, so this is working perfectly as it's supposed to be. So we have ourselves integrated the Google AI Studio and generated the content. Okay, and the next important thing what we are going to do is we have to bring the time mode, hourly basis, and the job mode, and the work experience. And over here we need to bring the tags and all these things. Let's bring all those things one after another. So let's go ahead and do that now.